Yeah, so I think the first thing to note is like there's a reason why you're so tired. It's not a failing of you as a teacher. If you're coming home exhausted and maybe it's your first year, maybe it's your 15th year and you don't understand why you're so tired, the job is exhausting. The demands of the job are exhausting, right? Um, and that's because we have so much to do. We have so many different types of tasks to do. And then on top of that, we're serving multiple stakeholders and we're also being asked to do a little bit of physical labor, lots of mental labor, and then also this emotional labor that is just sometimes impossible to leave at school, right? We've all been there where we have something going on with the student and you can't just leave it in the classroom. It comes home with you. So there's a lot going on. Um, I think the number one thing that teachers can do immediately is take some time and decide what boundaries you want on your time. So I talk a lot about working your contract hours, but if you're somebody that's currently working 55 or 60-hour weeks, the idea of dropping down to 40-hour weeks is not attainable, right? And so I think, setting some of those boundaries for yourself and figuring out how much do I want to work? What days do I want to stay late? When I'm working on the weekend, what time block do I want to be working on the weekend so I don't find myself in this hole of grading here and there all weekend, which means I never feel like I get a break. And so once you've determined what those boundaries are for yourself, loop somebody in, have somebody who can be your accountability buddy, maybe somebody at school, maybe it's a spouse or a partner or an older child if you have older children, who are able to hold you accountable to the commitment that you're going to make to yourself. This is one of my favorite first boundaries to set because I was so guilty of this in early on in my teaching career, right? Is I would come home on the weekends and I would work, here and there on Saturday and here and there on Sunday. And then I never felt like I had a break over the weekend. And I probably ended up working, more hours than I thought I was going to, because at the end of the day, work expands. So if you're giving yourself all this time to work, as a teacher, you're always going to find more to do because it's a creative job and there is just always more to do. So I think one of the best things that you could start doing today, right? You're watching the 12-Hour Live now. I'm sure you have things you want to do over the weekend. Maybe you already work your contract hours and you feel good about that, and that's amazing. Sit down and write out what you want to get accomplished this weekend for your job and time box it. Figure out how much time you think it's going to take you to do that amount of work, and then pick, if it's 4 hours of work or 3 hours of work, pick a 3 or 4 hour chunk on one day that you're going to allow yourself to work so that it's constrained, right? Mm-hmm. Here I am on Sunday morning or, Saturday evening, I have a 3 hour chunk of time. I'm going to do the work during then. And the rest of my weekend is for me. And that's going to make you feel maybe you're working the same amount, but because it's condensed, the rest of your weekend feels like it's free.